days of excellent weather here in South Florida, and fortunately, we're all on the turf this afternoon.
Yeah, we're going to mention some rail changes. We're still going to run towards the outside in a couple of those races today, but as you mentioned, a Chamber of Commerce day here today. Just beautiful weather, low 80s, sunny skies, fast main track, and the turf course listed as firm. But on the inside, because of all that rain we had, didn't have a chance to really mow it and take care of it. So they're going to run a couple of races, including the first race at 115 feet.
Okay, yeah, we have a couple of rail setting changes, as you mentioned. And taking a look at our wagers this afternoon, we started all off in race 1 with that rolling super high 5. That's a $1 wager. We also do have the early pick 5, a 50-cent based wager. I believe you're going to take a stab at the early pick 5 and the late pick 5. And looking at race 5 as well, that does start the 20-cent rainbow pick 6. We have a carryover of over $41,000 today, and 10 races on tap. And it's actually a really interesting card this afternoon.
Yeah, pretty nice card. And, we're starting the day with a turf race. That's always a lot of fun. And as you mentioned, I'm going to take a stab at the early pick 5. We can show my ticket right now when it comes up, and we'll see how we start the afternoon. I did use a couple of horses to start the day, and I mentioned the rail change. It'll be 115 feet today in this race. And there you see it. I went 3 deep with the 2, 3, and the number 6, and you see the progression. And in race number 4, I actually singled the horse today so I can use more $40.50. And that race number 4 horse, we'll talk about that horse in just a moment. That is Delta Girl. We're actually going to show that horse's last performance. So going to go with a single this afternoon to see if I can get it done.
Okay, $40.50. And I thought the actual pick 6 was very, very tough to find a single, and I got kind of a crazy single today. I can't remember what the horse is on the morning line, but maybe 6 to 1, 8 to 1, or 10
I love
to 1.
that.
So
that happened.
We'll see how it shakes out here, Ron. We kick it off there with that open $35,000 claimer, as you said, rail set at 115 feet. And we just did take a look at your early pick 5 ticket, but I believe both of us land on the 2 lasso here for George Navarro. Edgar Sides in the saddle too, primarily because this horse is coming out of pretty tough races, and he looks to be the speed of the speed.
Yeah, and he reeled off 4 consecutive victories here last year. He returns to action. He finished second in back-to-back $16,000 starter handicaps up at Monmouth. That was back in July and August. The barn is really good with the 61 to 180 day layoff, like 20-something%. I think every angle they have is 26 or 25%. I just thought it was a logical choice in there, the number 2 lasso, but I did not single it because it's coming off that layoff.
Layoff too, and you look at in the starter handicap series that they were having up at Monmouth, the winner of those 2 legs of the starter handicap series was cut to order. And even speaking to Jamie Ness, the trainer of Cut to Order, he actually went on and faced grade 3 company outside of that race because it was so hard to make a race go because nobody wanted to run against him. Lasso, unfortunately, had to run second against him in the past 2 starts. So again, coming to, which I think is really decent company. I think he should be fresh off the layoff. The one, Yes, I'm Lucky, is a horse I'll be using in the mix. He's been facing allowance optional claiming company in the past couple of starts. He had a troubled trip at Saratoga. And again, you look at his back class, and he very well could finish in the exact-on class alone.
Well, the horse that you have in third and I have in second is the number 3, Revere du Loup, and this one is stepping up against open competition after ending his fall campaign at Belmont. He comes and he runs 5 wide, but he scores against $50,000 3 lifetime claimers. That was going a mile in the 16th. Jason Service always does an excellent job. He's got Joe Bravo atop this son of Ghost Zapper, and I just thought he was a good horse to have in there.
Okay, that is the first leg of the early pick 5, and it does a rolling super high 5 wagering is available in race 1. We'll move on to the second on the card, a maiden 12,500 event at the 1-turn mile on the main track. And the 9 Lace Draws is going to be my top selection here. This 5-year-old mare is very lately raced, only 2 starts there on form, but last time out, the connections gave her Lasix for the first time. Today, the blinkers go on, and she gets added distance, and she just looks like a horse that wants a little bit more real estate.
Yeah, and a nice pick, 10 to 1 on the morning line. Did not use it on my ticket, but I can understand with, getting a Lasix last time. I did go with the number 6, Manhattan Moxie, now in the Sid Attard barn. This is a daughter of Lemon Drop Kid, debuting locally at a mile after responding to the addition of blinkers with a second-place finisher against Similar. That was going 7 furlongs. It was up on the Woodbine, a synthetic surface. Want to show you a stat from Tino Attard. He's a pretty good stat. It's very limited sampling, but he's 2 for 4. 50% this year with horses going from synthetic to dirt, and that's exactly what this horse is going to do this afternoon.
The Woodbine horses from the synthetic to the dirt, or even synthetic to the turf here, have been tricky. Some of them have been formful, and some of them we just have seen them kind of regress in form. So I agree with you. If this horse can make a lateral move on the dirt today, should be very tough. There's some other contenders in here, including the 2, Mischievous Charlie, kind of clipped heels last time out at Gulfstream, but if you go to the back form, has been running runner-up performances in the past several starts.
Yeah, we both used the 4-horse on our ticket. Wheels back in 6 days, this one, after it goes back to the main track after closing late. In that race to finish fifth against $16,000 maidens. That was on that softened turf course that day, listed as good. Safi Joseph Jr. is the trainer. Not very good stat here. Is 1 for 8. It's limited, 12% with a short turnaround in the 6th day, but it's got Javier Castellano in the saddle.
That's so, and you know that horse will probably get money on that factor alone. Those are tricky races, though, especially when you're looking at the early pick 5. And sometimes with those, you just have to make a decision. Go 2 or 3 horses deep. Go with your best gut choice, because you could ultimately wind up using 4 or 5 horses.
And you made a great point about the synthetic from Canada going to the main track. Over the years, everybody's been trying to figure that out. Some years they do okay, some years they don't. The turf, much more formful, but that's a tough angle going from there. I'm going by these stats, limited sampling, but always got to watch to see how they're going to run.
Yeah, especially in those lower level claimers or lower level mating claimers, we have seen Gulfstream Park West form coming back to Gulfstream really hold on the main track. So maybe that's an angle to continue to play once you get to those kind of condition races. We'll go to the 3rd race at 12,500. Non-winners of 2 lifetime on the main track at 6 furlongs, and the 5 Pure Talent is going to be the top selection here, taking a big drop in class from that maiden 35, maiden 20,000 race in the past 2 starts down to the bottom here. And the interesting thing is, again, this horse just got his maiden victory last time out against maiden 35. He's coming in off of a freshening since early October, and it's not really a vote of confidence that they dropped this horse down so much in class, fresh off a 7-length victory. But again, he very well could just repeat.
And I really respect the connection to trainer Stanley Gold with Edgar Zayas. Has made me lean towards that, because I really respect where he places his horses. I think it's in a good spot in there.
And looking at the last race, too, sometimes you get these long-time maidens, and they finally find a good field. They defeat that field by a significant margin, and then they come back to run consecutive really solid races, and that's kind of the angle that I went with the 5 Pure Talent. You also threw in the 3 Osbold in here for David Casson.
Yeah, this one has its claiming text sliced in half after opening and then relinquishing a 3-length lead, went 5th against $25,000 2 lifetime claimers, going 6.5 furlongs across town at Gulfstream Park West. Drop down. I just think this horse can run well in this spot. Another class dropper that I think has a good chance in here.
Yeah, there are a lot of class droppers in here. The 7 Curlinge Gem is one of them for Marty Wolfson. Again, this is 2nd time off the freshening. Subpar performance last time out, but was actually really respected by the public, going off as your short price favorite, and just kind of looked like a lethargic effort there. But again, on the class drop, 2nd off the layoff, I think that should really put this horse into contention. We'll go on to the 4th race, a first level allowance, 6 furlongs onto the main track. And drum roll, please. This is where you single with the 1 Delta Girl.
Yeah, making her first start since her head swirling debut maiden victory here in July, in which she drew off away. She was in hand that race. It was really impressive. She won that race by 8 1/4 lengths.
Well, we actually do have a replay of that performance. We'll go back when she did debut at Gulfstream Park, 6 furlongs on the main track, and this was on the 13th of August. And again, you look at the pace setter in that race, Artie's Bourbon Girl. And essentially, I think you have to take a couple different things from this performance. Artie's Bourbon Girl, she was coming in off of a significant layoff since December. She went to the front end. She clocked 22 flat, 44 and 4, opening quarter and half fractions. She just got a little bit tired, whereas Delta Girl, essentially this race really did set up for her in a sense. Because they just went such fast early fractions there, and she just completely coasted home. So ultimately, I think you're going to get a higher buyer speed figure for that performance. But the thing that I liked about it, too, as a first-time starter, 3-year-old, she was very mature in that fact. She made the lead a little bit earlier than probably she wanted to, and she just kept kicked home, and she was handwritten out, and visually it looked really good. But again, if I'm playing the multi-race sequences, I don't know if I'm bold enough to single her.
Well, the trainer Ralph Nix just had a fantastic summer, and he's seen everything he brought to the track, ran exceptionally well, and I really respect him coming off this layoff. So I had to single somewhere because I wasn't sold on the other races where I can just go and pick a horse. I know you put the number 8 Diamond Earring in second.
Yeah, we have a little statistic here for trainer Kathy Ritvo. She brings this 3-year-old filly out, Diamond Earring, and she was going against very tough company. A little statistic here, 4 for 19, so 21%, 7 for 19, 37% in the money over the course of the past 5 years with 61 to 180 day layoff in dirt sprints alone. So I thought those were pretty significant statistics. And you look at the company that she has kept in the past. She did beat a very solid field at first asking against Maiden Special Weight Company. It was legitimate. We saw the third place finisher go on to really hold form and even improve out of that race. And she was competitive against First Level Allowance Company at Belmont and Saratoga. But if Delta Girl isn't the goods here and she's fit and ready off the layoff, I think she could be a major factor.
Yeah, and she was beat 3 lengths last time by a repeat winner called Kirov that was trained by Chad Brown. It was a really nice horse, so she's been keeping good company. The horse that I had in second today, Mom's Laugh, is the only 4-time winner in the field. It returns locally after breaking from an outside post, dueling throughout and coming within ahead of notching her 5th career victory. Javier Castellano rides for Marcus Vitale. Why I wanted to mention this is that she's the only 4-time winner in the field. Delta Girl coming back after that one win, so this one has experience.
And she hasn't raced since August, and she draws the rail at a sprint distance.
Right.
So she's got a couple of things going against her. This 9 saving time, I think she's been competitive against tougher company. She's got the experience, a 14-time starter, and she very well could run into the mix here. She finished second behind a grade 3 placed filly as well. So again, I kind of like her on back class purposes, but an interesting race nonetheless. We'll see if Delta Girl is the goods
You talked
today.
me out of my single here.
That was a very impressive race,
Right.
but I also think, there might be some equally classy fillies, but they're again coming off the layoff, and that might be really hard to overcome. But
Yeah, a nice race.
it's a very nice race. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the 20-cent Rainbow Pick 6. We do have a carryover this afternoon of over $41,000 right after this. Okay. Yes. Welcome back to Gulfstream Park, and looking at the 20-cent Rainbow Pick 6, we do have a carryover, always a very, very popular wager here at Gulfstream Park, and I did come up with a ticket. We'll take a look at it. It's a very bold single today. I don't know.
I'm dying to see this one.
If we get past this single, I think, I don't know. I don't know what I'll do. I'll be very happy and excited. Race 5 does kick us off. 3, 5, and the 7. So Alpine Sky, Treasure in the 7, Indian Goddess getting to the main track for the first time as we get to race 6, 4 deep, race 7, 4 deep, race 8. I'm singling on the 3, My Corinthian for Dane Kabisky. He's been coming out firing lately. And again, she's a little bit higher on the morning line, but I'll get to her in a little bit. Race 9, 3 deep, and race 10, 3 deep. Honestly, I would have backed myself up with another horse in race 8, but I just couldn't cross out any horses in races 6 and 7. So sometimes, unfortunately, that's where that single comes in handy.
Yeah, and that's My Corinthian and 10 to 1 on the morning line.
Yes, it's going to be very interesting here. Race 5 does kick off the sequence, though, and I'm interested to get your take on this race, too. The 5 Treasure is going to be my top selection. The 3 Alpine Sky should go off as your favorite. She's coming in off of consecutive very solid performances, but you look at Treasure, And I thought she just unfortunately got caught behind a bear last time out. The Wrath of Ruthie, she went on to win next out, getting a 92 Beyer speed figure for Steve Asmussen. She just really looks like the goods.
Yeah, Julian Leperoux in the saddle today. I went the same way with you with number 5, Treasure, but I do think that number 3, as you mentioned, Alpine Sky is going to take some money in here.
Yeah, and we'll actually take a look at Alpine Sky's last dirt performance. Again, she's been trying the turf for the past 2 starts here at Gulfstream, but this was on the 26th of April, going 6 furlongs on the main track. Edgar Prado was aboard that day, and we see Diamond Earring was the eventual winner, and this is the Kathy Ritvo horse that I kind of like in race 4, so why not respect this filly? I like the fact that she came back off the pace. She dueled kind of in between horses, and then she kind of rebroke and finished very well, and the gallop out was strong too. So this is one to definitely respect.
Yeah, definitely respect, and as you mentioned, ridden by Javier Castellano, handling her third start since July 3rd. So her first start, excuse me, since July 3rd. So coming off a little bit of a layoff. So Ralph Nick's bringing a couple of horses back that ran very well during the summertime.
Now, those are the 2 obvious horses in the race, but if you're looking for shaking things up in the exacta, the 7 Indian Goddess, I think, is very interesting. She was a $500,000 purchase there at the OBS sale by Indian Charlie out of graciousness, and that actually makes her a half-sister to the Factor, multiple Grade 1 winning sprinter. So, again, I'm thinking we could see, we really don't know what she's made of on the main track.
Yeah, and the other horse I wanted to mention real quick was the 4 Ring Knocko. Should be primed and ready to offer more today. After returning from a 9-month-plus layoff, I like the way this horse ran at Town at Gulfstream Park for trainer Tom Albatrani. Rafael Hernandez in the saddle today, and this is a horse somewhere that I think can, move forward today, maybe get the job done. Tough sequence, a good race, but you're going to have to go a little deep in there in your Rainbow Six to get started. To get to that 3, my Corinthian.
Let's hope so. We'll go on to race 6, and this does start the late pick 5. The rail is set at 115 feet, so a rail change 7.5 furlongs on the turf course for this dual condition $16,000 claiming event. And you took a stab at the late pick 5. Talk us through your sequence.
Yeah, well, let's show you my ticket here when it comes up. I started my analysis actually with the 11 horse Rose Graciela, but I used 3 deep here, and I went with the 8, 10, 11. We'll talk about those horses in a minute. You see them go down, and my long shot today comes in race number 9, and that is the 3 horse Materiality, who I like the way this horse ran over across town at Gulfstream Park West, was right there all the time. So I'm going to use that horse on my ticket. $48 for me.
Okay, 8, 10, and 11 does kick off the sequence. I used the 4, 6, 10, and 11. So I went 4 horses deep in here. I didn't use your 8, though. I thought this was one of the trickier races on the sequence because they're just so evenly matched that you do have to use at least 3 horses here in the pick 5. I ultimately land on the 10, Pinsy's Prize here for trainer Michael Petro. Last time out, a decent second on the main track when it was rained off and run on the main track. Now getting back to the turf, and it just looks like she's very solid at this particular distance.
Yeah, and that 8,000 you see was an $8,000 condition claim. I see that sort of as a lateral move. I don't think this horse is that outclassed in there, but as I mentioned, I did know the horse you have in third, number 11, Rose Graciela, 9 for 13 in the money on this course, returns after posting her 4th career victory when she defeated similar opposition. That was going a mile. It was across town at Gulfstream Park West. Antonio Sano, Tyler Gaffleone in the saddle. This horse likes the local surroundings, has run very well here in the past, in good form. Had to have that one on the ticket.
I also think the interesting horse in there is Yarmorka, the number 4 horse, first off the claim for Leo Gabriel. And obviously a very solid statistics, first off the claim, almost 30% and a nice positive ROI. And you look at this filly, and she's been in very good form. I thought I was more so impressed by her performance at Kentucky Downs, going against Starter Allowance Company. She was 7-1 in that event, so a little outclassed, but she still ran a very good third. Now, last time out, I don't really know what went south. She opened up on the field and just faltered late. The interesting thing is perhaps she's just not a 2-turn filly, and unfortunately she has to go the 2 turns today, so we'll see how things shake out.
Yeah, and I just threw in the 8-horse Don's Escapade debuting locally for Terry Pompey. Showed a fondness for the grass when rallying along the rail to finish third against 16 3 lifetime claimers. That was going a mile. It was a good turf course at the Meadowlands. Orlando Boca Chica in the saddle. You know, we got a jockey change in here on the number 9, Rafael Hernandez. Edgar Prado took that spill the other day. He's going to be fine, but he got some broken ribs. So be away for a few weeks, but it looks like he's going to mend and be good. And we're wishing him speedy recovery.
A very, very tough individual. He's an old-time family friend, and we wish him all the best. Just so unfortunate, but again, just a couple of broken ribs, and hopefully he gets back in the saddle very, very quickly.
Exactly.
All right, race 7, we'll move on to the 6250 dual condition claiming event, 7 furlongs onto the main track. And this is another interesting one. We have the 7, Dreaming of Clarice, going to the main track. She showed speed last time out, again, slightly tougher. She couldn't fully go the mile in a 16th, but now today, staying on the main track, cutting back to a one-turn distance, she should be able to sit on the leader very closely.
Yeah, I like her this afternoon for all the reasons you mentioned. Trained by Antonio Sana, MSC El Jaramillo in the saddle today. Actually went only 2 deep in here. We got the same 2 horses on my ticket, and the other horse that we both used was the one not welcome.
Not welcome for trainer Peter Walder. He started off the Gulfstream Championship meet in good fashion, and this horse has been running consistently against similar company, and he does draw the nice rail post position. He's one that you obviously have to use. The 4 Ace gets blinkers on for the first time, ran 7 furlongs last time out on a sloppy sealed track, and again, could perhaps improve now getting to a fast track.
Number 11, Southern Scroll, will try and make it 2 in a row at the distance after responding last time out to that surface switch with a late running score. Was against 8,000 condition claimers. Was on a sealed sloppy track across Gulfstream Park West. Marcial Navarro, he's got apprentice Gerardo Corrales in the saddle. We got a couple of nice apprentices here. This kid rode a good race the other day, slipped through on the inside, and Vincente Guidel has been doing great.
Yeah, definitely ones to look out for. Ron, we'll move on to the 8th race here. Looking at this race, the 16,000 non-winners of 2 lifetime condition. 115 feet is the new rail setting at 5 furlongs. And this is where my single comes into play, and that is the 3 My Corinthian. And I think it's a very bold single. We'll go back and take a look at this gelding's last replay here. And this was coming off of a very significant layoff. Since it's a 5 furlong sprint run, we're just going to take you through the whole entire thing. He broke from the rail post position in this race, and he just wasn't quite fast enough to make the lead. Unfortunately, he had other horses to his outside who are a little bit faster coming out of the gate. He couldn't secure that rail situation there, and unfortunately he had to check back early. Now from there, you do see in the short comment, it says steadied on the backstretch. He continually steadied on the backstretch, and this is not where this horse wants to be. He's last right there, or almost last. He wants to be close to the lead or on the lead, and that's why I kind of go to him today, because I think he draws a better rail post, and it'll be second off the layoff. After all of that early trouble, we obviously see the 5 go to the lead early, take the field in uncontested,